So for those who don't know, my dad grew up learning every martial arts imaginable. Like if a dojo opened up in the state, he was there. So everything from American kickboxing to judo to taekwondo, he learned as much about it as possible, and he taught me a thing or two. But more than fighting, I really enjoy discussing technique and how things work. And the modern martial artist here has always done an amazing job breaking down techniques, as well as individual fights. But I thought the boxer in today's video was extremely underrated, and a lot of you probably have never heard of Floyd Patterson. He was like the OG peekaboo guy, like before Mike Tyson was here. And he's just as interesting a fighter as Mike Tyson was, in my opinion. But yeah, I thought we'd check him out and see what he's all about. So without further ado, let's go.
Floyd Patterson was an absolute monster in the ring, using his dynamic footwork,
Those hooks,
crafty boxing, and incredible speed to destroy the competition. He rose through the ranks at a ridiculous pace.
And you see that just that positioning that he takes a lot of time. Like, him and Mike do an amazing job where you have this squared up stance, and it makes it easy to attack left and right, but you could also draw a lot of power in close quarters. Which is why I kind of emphasize this a lot in my own style, because I have long legs and a short torso. But because of that, when I get in close, because I have a smaller torso, it means I require less wind up to put power in my punches. So I use my long legs to get in, and then I use me having a small torso to build up more force naturally, and I could just kind of work my way in and then around. So it's all about knowing your stuff. Play to your strengths.
He rose through the ranks at a ridiculous pace, taking the heavyweight championship at only 21 years old.
Oh, and that leaping left.
Patterson's coach was the great Cus D'Amato.
My man
Who
Cus.
taught him the same peekaboo boxing style he would later teach Mike Tyson. Peekaboo fighters look to square up with their opponents, placing both themselves and their competitors into the most dangerous position possible.
Yep.
Both Tyson and Patterson counted on side-to-side head movement to keep themselves safe in this open, high-risk position.
Hey, there you go, dude. If you can get away with it, take as much risk as possible. Like, what's the Chinese proverb? Greed is good. Even if it looks sketchy, if you're comfortable in a certain position, by all means, make sure your opponent gets there, just so you know you can just outperform them. Like I said before, always play to your strengths. Take a little risk.
While at the same time, they looked to take advantage of their opponent's equally vulnerable position. But Patterson was his own unique fighter, with several fundamental differences in how he approached peekaboo boxing in
Left, right,
comparison
left,
to
right,
Tyson.
left.
Patterson lacked the same power that Tyson would one day become known for, but he made up for that with insane, mind-boggling speed. While Ali is widely considered the fastest heavyweight champion overall, most would argue that Patterson had the faster hands. Patterson threw blisteringly fast.
Dude, for a heavyweight, that speed is just fucking mind-boggling, dude. And another thing, too, that the peekaboo style emphasizes that my dad taught me was throwing from the same side consistently and as hard as possible, or as fast and effectively as possible. Because it throws off a lot of people because you're so used to, changing positions as your opponent is attacking. But if they keep constantly going to the same spot over and over again, by the time you realize he's attacking the same spot, you've already moved your guard or repositioned. But, if he's using the style effectively, he knows to go along with it, and he's just going to keep doing his thing. So, I was taught, a feint 1-2, but in a different way, right? Like, you want to feint a jab, make it connect, because it's all about tension and release, right? So you want to do a feint with, mid to low tension, and then once you make contact, you want to tighten up your muscles for that max tension, and then exert your force. So it's make contact with your target, then penetrate through it. And it just opens up other avenues of attacks too, because if you put up enough damage, they know they just can't keep taking it, so they're going to just have to keep doing options that you're just going to keep making worse and worse for them.
Fast combinations. By the time an opponent had noticed his first punch, the second had already landed, and this gave Patterson some pretty unique advantages. For instance, like Tyson, Patterson loved to aim low to tempt an opponent to drop their guard. Then attack high to take advantage of the new opening his first punch had created. But
Change
unlike
elevation.
Tyson, Patterson would often target the same spot with the same hand
Yep, see, look at that.
times. When doubling up, it's difficult to put any power into the second punch in general. Moving from low to high or high to low can help a little bit by giving the second punch more distance to build up speed. But since Patterson was punching the same target over and over again, he didn't even have that. But it didn't matter. He was so fast that he could still break through.
Yep, E equals MC squared, right? If you have enough speed, it makes up for your lack of mass. I must say it works.
Since effective blocking entails tensing and resisting in time with an opponent's punches,
Yep.
Patterson's insane combination speed made it near impossible to maintain a stable guard. Opponents simply couldn't keep up with Patterson's rhythm. And since no guard is ever completely devoid of openings, Patterson's hand speed meant he could cut through the cracks in an opponent's armor with ease. Like Holyfield against Foreman, Patterson's quick combinations helped him to break through even the normally frustrating crossguard with little difficulty.
Yep. And remember, you have to be exerting enough force for them to respect it too, right? Like if they know they could just keep taking it on their guard or even just take it to the dome, they're going to keep doing it. So you'd be surprised. They could be the most hardcore warrior, but against constant pressure and consistency, it's hard to come up with a plan for that. You really just kind of have to make different plans and fight in ways you're not familiar with. But hey, you know, that's the name of the game, man.
Patterson's hand speed also helped tremendously while infighting. A common tactic at close range is to protect your head on an opponent's shoulder. Building on this, another tactic is to suddenly disengage, then take advantage of the small gap your head was occupying to land a punch. Opponents expect this and can usually defend it, but Patterson was so
that was
fast,
so quick.
his punch could usually get there before opponents even had time to react. In fact, Patterson worked moving on and off.
See, and what I was talking about too with the smaller torso, it actually helps because, like, even though Floyd is a monster, he's super fast, but what's even more as useful as that is the illusion of speed, right? Because based on his body and practice, right, like, he's going to hit his target as efficiently as possible. So once you kind of know how your body moves and then know how to attack your opponent, it becomes so clean that it looks twice as fast as it actually is, but really just comes down to how effective he is with his style. So people are like, well, how did he hit me so fast? It's just like, I was going like mid to low speed, man. Like, I just knew where I needed to be. Like, work to your strengths, work to where your opponent isn't comfortable, and you could just slice through him like butter, man.
An opponent's shoulder into his head movement. Something not uncommon, but exceptionally difficult to do. This kept Patterson safe at close range, taking away any reach advantage the opponent might have had, and positioning Patterson close enough to take advantage of his superior speed.
Dude, and reach advantage really is a big thing. And like I said, just for my weird body, I have a small torso, long legs, but I also have shorter arms. So someone that's the exact height as me could probably hit me before I can hit them. So I just had to work to my strengths, find a way to get in, and then just pressure them until they have worsening options, pretty much.
Another huge difference between Tyson and Patterson was the way they used the unique footwork of Customado style. The high-risk, squared-up position used by peekaboo-style boxers
it's a lot of back,
helps
homie.
them to move to either side in either stance, opening up a plethora of new angles that more traditionally minded boxers don't enjoy. While Tyson used the multi-angled, multi-stance philosophy of peekaboo style almost exclusively to cut off the ring and chase opponents to the ropes,
follow your
Patterson
legs.
used it to box. In this way, it can be argued that Patterson used a less focused, but more complete version of the peekaboo style than Tyson. Although Patterson
it looks so
could pressure,
frustrating.
he was great at circling the ring, skillfully moving
he looks
in and
pretty.
out of
Like,
range
look at
at
him go.
all angles to
Like, he
bait
knows his
opponents
distance,
into
man.
his attacks. For instance, rather than enter into a neutral position right away, Patterson would often stay sideways and box more traditionally until the right moment presented itself. When circling at long range, Patterson preferred to close the distance by slipping outside while stepping inside.
Ooh, God, so beautiful.
This position both closed the distance and provided the maximum amount of safety for Patterson, as his crouch closed off his body and hid his head outside of his opponent's jab. More importantly, this position hid much of Patterson's body from his opponent's view. This meant that he could weave up from underneath an opponent's jab when they least expected it,
Stifle their
loading
sight.
up his signature gazelle hook.
Keep them guessing, dude. That
Patterson was
50-50.
a
Oh, is
big
he
fan
moving
of
or is he
shuffling into
attacking?
his hooks. A risky move that nonetheless added insane power to Patterson's punch.
Oof. See,
At
and
times,
he looks,
Patterson threw
like relatively small too, as a heavyweight. So he's just so good at throwing his body weight around, and such good technique that he could just take him down, dude. Like, exerting that much force over that much range is just so fucking pretty to me.
himself halfway across the ring to connect with his opponent's chin. But although this was Patterson's flashiest weapon to employ once he closed the distance, he had many others.
Oof.
For instance, Patterson loved to shuffle outside mid-combination in order to gain a
See?
tempo on
Switch
his
around.
opponent. This is a similar concept to chess, where you can check an opponent to force them to
Yep.
waste a move.
Let them
defending
react,
it.
because you're just hurting them like a fucking sheep at that point.
By moving outside, Patterson forced an opponent to waste a move pivoting to face him. And while they lagged one step behind, Patterson could set up his
Yep.
next punch. This was usually either a lead uppercut or a right hook, both thrown from an angle where the opponent could not see due to their inferior position. Patterson could
Fucking
also
position,
use
dude. Position makes way for a lot of different variables, man. That's why it throws me off, because Dad had always taught me, multi-stance footwork. And I'm just so confused why people don't utilize it more. Like, I understand, practical principles and things like that, but it's just like such a valuable tool. Why would you not want them to be able to attack and defend with both feet forward? Like, it's just so weird to me.
the same concept to circle inside, at times ending up behind his opponent. This
See?
linear shift put
Left
both
and right.
Patterson and his opponent into a southpaw position, where Patterson was comfortable and his opponent was
Wow.
not. But as you might have guessed, approaching from a traditional stance and then transitioning to a more squared up stance mid-combination was only a small part of Patterson's repertoire. One of the things that made Patterson so difficult to deal with was how he constantly stepped into and out of his squared up stance, moving in and out of range to bait and confuse competitors. Pay attention to how
So
Patterson
natural.
constantly plays with moving his lead foot from close to his opponent's lead foot, the standard more closed off position, to deeper inside, a far riskier position for either fighter. Like the great
And
Salvador
square up,
Sanchez,
yep.
Patterson loved to crouch as he did this, at times ducking as he stepped in.
Keep them guessing, man. Even head
At
movement's a
times
weapon.
when he stepped back out. This was extremely frustrating for Patterson's opponent.
Yeah, no
because
shit.
For them, Patterson's head movement was considered a threat all on its
Yep.
own. Each time Patterson moved his head offline, he loaded one hand with more potential power by shifting his weight to that side.
Yep, and that's an important thing too, is wherever you shift weight, there's potential to deliver that weight into different attacks pretty much. Sorry, my model kind of freaked out there for a second. It can't handle Patterson's badassery, apparently.
So when Patterson crouched, he was both making his opponent miss, which is a huge drain on energy, and threatening to set up powerful punches from new angles. Patterson's head movement and footwork complemented each other perfectly,
It was just so natural.
setting up great angles for his lead hooks by flanking his opponent to the inside. This forward aggression would later prove very effective for Mike Tyson as well.
Oh, with the fucking
But
liver
unlike
shot.
Tyson,
Oof.
Patterson would also step back into a more neutral stance, many times after goading a punch intentionally. This let him step off to either angle and rebound right back to counter from a
Oh god, yeah, what's it called? The fucking, not the sword draw. Is it spear and shield? To where you want to bait an opponent in. So like what I like doing is moving my head slightly offline, and then once an opponent is confident and thinks he could hit me, because I've shifted my weight, I've already planned around moving instinctively, switching my leg forward, and then using that weight as a counter attack. So it's just pretty much, yeah, it's like a bait and switch. You want to just tempt them, keep tempting them, and then the second you see they're about to commit to an attack, you just beat them to the punch.
number of different positions. with either hand. This was very reminiscent of Willie Pep.
Oh, Willie Pep. I need to get on him next, dude. Willie Pep was fucking funny, dude. Like, look at him go.
The ability to suddenly and subtly transition from defense to aggression was a big part of what made Patterson such a dangerous fighter. He could go from circling and probing to suddenly charging forward, piling on insane pressure.
Phew. Unpredictability, man. Never get him. Never let him feel comfy.
Patterson would stay put rather than pivot with them, instead following them from southpaw.
Yep. Multi-stance, telling you. It's like how Dad taught me. He said no matter where you're being attacked, no matter how continuous or how long it is, if someone were to walk in and see you fighting, it should look like you've been naturally fighting in a certain position that whole time. So like if someone circles to your left or to your right, you should be following them like it's one fluid fight. Like to where it essentially just looks flipped, right? However you chase them down on the left should be how you chase them down on the right, just with a different foot forward, so it just looks natural. Because if your opponent knows that you favor a certain position or way of advancing or acting defensive, they're going to capitalize on it, right? So you got to be ready for it and just keep going. Show them you can keep moving forward as comfy as possible.
Known as a turn shift, and is a major advantage for multi-stance fighters.
Yep.
But of course, Patterson could use this same principle while moving back as well. If opponents tried to pressure forward, Patterson would many times shift into southpaw to take advantage of the superior outside foot.
Yep, see, shift again.
This
See,
was
that's what I said.
fantastic for landing lead right hooks. It should be clear by now that Patterson possessed near complete freedom of movement and was able to attack moving backwards, forwards, or laterally from any range with either hand.
Full comfort, man.
Patterson
with
was
peekaboo.
Truly a complete peekaboo boxer.
Yeah, sir.
Before wrapping up, it's best to mention two pretty unique elements of Patterson's style that helped to glue the whole thing together. These allowed him to enjoy his high mobility, narrow sideways stance, as well as his deep, wide, squared up stance.
Ooh,
because,
careful with that
like
back,
Ricardo
homie.
Lopez, Patterson could transition from fancy footwork in a high mobility stance to power punching
That drop
in a low,
step.
broader stance. And he did this using a split step.
Oh, a split.
The split
My bad,
step allows a fighter to drop down from a narrow stance by jumping up and rapidly spreading his legs into a wider stance.
Here you go, follow your legs. Your legs tell you where the power's going to be.
Is that Patterson would do this laterally as well, dropping from a sideways stance into a squared up stance.
Yep, and then drop the other foot forward.
Another consideration is that because Patterson kept a more narrow stance much of the time, he tended to bend at the waist like Frazier, rather than sink down by bending his knees as Tyson preferred to do. While this can create more angles for head movement, it can also exact a large toll. Patterson was troubled by a bad back during the later part of his career, and sometimes it could go out mid-fight. So use caution if you choose to experiment with Patterson's version of the peekaboo.
Oh, see, like, look. Oh, God. Dude, and I feel that shit, too. Because, like I said, it looks like me and Floyd have a pretty similar build. And I tend to overcompensate by using my back a lot. Because, like you said, it opens up a lot more positions and things like that. But it does not feel good. But again, too, I always look at combat like, if you're getting jumped on the street, right? Because in the ring, you know, you could worry about rounds, gassing your opponent out, things like that. But in real life, you're going to have to make sacrifices, whether it be the comfort of your body, positions you don't normally feel comfortable with, or things you have to do. And you have to end the fight as quickly as possible. So if you need to hurt your back a little bit in order just to get that little bit of extra force to take out your opponent as quickly as possible, then so be it. Like, if my back drops after the fight, fine. But at least I fought as hard as I could. And if you're a scrawny dude like me, you're going to need to finish it quick. So, hey, you know, just drop everything you can on your opponent.
Patterson was one of the most entertaining fighters to ever enter the ring. And I recommend anyone interested in peekaboo boxing to watch all of his fights and compare and contrast his style with Tyson.
Yeah, for sure.
This can help you to better figure out your own unique skills and attributes. You can
also
check out my books on footwork, defense, and power for more info. From the Modern Martial Artist, this
There
has
you
been
go.
David Christian, wishing you happy training.
Thank you, Mr. Christian. You always do amazing work, man.
Modern
I
Martial
still need to get his books. His books are really good too. But yeah, Floyd is very underrated. He was the first ever two-time champion as well in history. Like, I thought at least one other person like lost a championship and then won it back. Apparently, Floyd was the first one, so that's what really threw me off. But yeah, if you like multi-stance, footwork and aggression and things like that, like Mike Tyson in the peekaboo style, Floyd Patterson is definitely a fucking G, man. He knows his shit. But yeah, if you've never seen The Modern Martial Artist, give him a chance. He always makes some of the best breakdowns and explanations when it comes to fighting. My wordplay is a little loose, so if you want to know the actual vocabulary behind the stuff, he's definitely a good person to start with, and he's entertaining as a narrator. But yeah, hope y'all have fun. I didn't talk too much, and y'all have a good one.